It's that time again where we take a look at the best PlayStation 4 game deals available right now. We are taking a look at game deals from the physical side of things in this video, so keep that in mind, and there are some awesome game deals available, so let's just get right into this. First up, we'll start off with the awesome Best Buy deals available right now, and of course with these deals, if you are a Gamers Club Unlocked member, you will save 20%. GCU is absolutely worth it. You pay $30 and you get a 2-year subscription, and you're gonna make that money back super quickly. So let's take a look at some of these awesome deals available at Best Buy. First, we have Assassin's Creed Origins, $30 base and $24 for GCU subscribers. Assassin's Creed Origins was one of the better games of 2017. Many would say it was their game of the year of last year. And while AC Origins is a part of a long-running franchise in Assassin's Creed, this entry in the franchise is very different. The combat has seen a gigantic overhaul. The world and exploration is much different, and the content in this game is staggering. There's so much to do in Assassin's Creed Origins, and Ubisoft has done a pretty good job in keeping the game updated. Some of the content is behind the DLC, so just keep that in mind. But the base game alone offers you so much content, and for just $24 if you're a GCU subscriber, that is a ridiculous deal.
What you have started in Egypt will change the course of history.
Next up, Monster Hunter World is $45 base, $36 for GCU subscribers. I talked about Assassin's Creed Origins being considered by many to be one of the best games of 2017. Well, Monster Hunter World is an early contender for 2018 Game of the Year, and it is head and shoulders above the majority of game releases this year. Many were excited about Monster Hunter World going in, but I don't think many expected the game to be as good as it was. Now that it was on current-gen consoles, the shackles really came off, with Monster Hunter prior to that being on Nintendo platforms as well as the PSP. Now it's on current-gen hardware, and technically speaking, this game is beautiful. And when you talk about content in games, Monster Hunter World is absolutely filled with it. This is a game that's going to keep you busy for a very long time, and another game that Capcom seems very committed to keeping updated, and we've already seen that thus far with a recent update adding a decent amount of content, and best of all, it's free updates. Even paying that $45 base price is a great deal, but if you're a GCU subscriber, you're getting it for only $36, and that is an exceptional deal. Next up, Borderlands The Handsome Collection is $15 base and $12 for GCU subscribers. We've talked quite a bit about content when looking at Assassin's Creed Origins as well as Monster Hunter World. Those two games are on the more expensive side of things, but Borderlands The Handsome Collection, even being a $15 title, this game is filled with content. I mean, it is just a remaster of two last generation games, but you get Borderlands 2, you get Borderlands the pre-sequel, and on top of that, you get both games' respective DLC content, and that is a lot of content. Each game you can spend at least 50 hours on, probably well over that, and there's reason to go back and play through the games as different characters. It just has a lot of longevity to it. And don't worry if you are playing Borderlands solo. Borderlands, yes, while it has an emphasis on the cooperative play, it's still a ton of fun playing through the game solo. And for just $15, $12 for Gamers Club Unlocked members, it is a steal.
Need another head for my merry-go-round. Weakness leads to death.
Next up, we have Grand Theft Auto 5 for $30, $24 Gamers Club Unlocked. Now, Grand Theft Auto 5 was a game that was originally released back in 2013, 2014 for the next generation version, and it's a game, just like a lot of Rockstar titles, that has really retained its value. Even at this point, being almost a 4-year-old game, it is still at $30, which a lot of other games, the majority of other games where that much time has passed since its release, it would be in the bargain bin by now. But GTA 5 is one of those games that has really retained its value. And rightfully so. I mean, it is a great game with a ton of, yes, content in that open world, and it does have a very deep online experience as well. And at this point, GTA 5 has just become one of those games that's essential to any game library. $30, yes, while it is steep, $24 is a little bit more palatable as a GCU subscriber. So that wraps up all of the Best Buy deals, but there's also a ton of other great deals available at different retailers. Next up, we have WipEout the Omega Collection for $24 at GameStop. WipEout is one of those PlayStation exclusive franchises that you would have expected to garner a lot more attention, but it really was pushed to the wayside. We didn't even know if the series would be making an appearance on the PlayStation 4, but then we got WipEout the Omega Collection, a collection of WipEout HD, WipEout HD Fury, as well as WipEout 2048, that PlayStation Vita game. Great to have the WipEout experience on the PlayStation 4, and by the way, WipEout Omega Collection just had a PlayStation VR update also released, and by all indications, this VR update seems to be a legitimate selling point for the PlayStation VR. So if you have PSVR, that's even more reason to check out WipEout the Omega Collection, and even if not, $24 for the game is a great deal at GameStop. Next up, Tokyo Xandu EX Plus for $30 at Amazon. Tokyo Xandu is one of those JRPGs, a great JRPG that's gone really under the radar. A lot of gamers that have played it would draw comparisons to the Persona franchise, and I wouldn't say it's that good. It's actually quite far from the quality of Persona 5, but that's not saying too much negative. Persona 5 could have a legitimate claim for being the best JRPG of all time. Tokyo Xandu EX Plus is still a very good game in its own right. The story does lack quite a bit for the beginning portion of the game, but it does pick up after around 30 hours or so. The characters are all likable enough, and if you're a fan of JRPGs, you're gonna enjoy this game. Another game that's retaining its value quite a bit, but for $30, it's a solid pickup. We've been talking about games retaining their value. How about a game that hasn't retained its value, and that is Dissidia Final Fantasy NT, already available for $27 at Newegg. Dissidia Final Fantasy NT released at the end of January, and 2 months later, the game is already under half its original price, and I can understand why. Dissidia Final Fantasy was a pair of games that I loved on the PSP. However, Dissidia Final Fantasy NT offers a lot to be desired comparatively to those two games. It's lacking a traditional single-player component. However, if you are a fan of Final Fantasy, if you want that Final Fantasy themed brawler, there's still fun to be had with Dissidia Final Fantasy NT, but that initial $60 price point definitely was way too much. Now that it's down to $27 at Newegg after a promo code, this is a great price to check the game out for.
While increasing your own by the same amount. And receiving a bravery attack will in turn reduce your bravery. These attacks are important because the higher...
Next up, Okami HD for $12 at Newegg. Okami was one of the PlayStation 2's best games, and that says a lot because the PlayStation 2 was absolutely stacked with amazing titles, but Okami HD is legitimately among the top 2% or so. It is a great game that gamers have drawn resemblance to titles such as The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. Maybe that's due to the art style, but the game definitely has its own flair to it, but you can see the Zelda thematics come out. It's got a great story, unique gameplay, and Okami was remastered onto the PlayStation 4 last year, and it released at a budget price of $20, but now it's already down to $12, and that is an absolute steal. Okami is one of those games that's been rather underlooked throughout the year, so definitely give it a look. Maybe if this sells well enough, at some point we can finally get an Okami 2. At the very least, give Okami HD a look. Again, $12 at Newegg. Next up, we have Nioh for $24 at Newegg. Nioh was a game that was in development for a very long time. Going back to 2004, you could say it was stuck in absolute development hell, but it got out of that, went through a few different iterations, and it finally released in 2017 as a Soul-style game with its own flair to it. It's set in feudal Japan, so that's a lot different, and it's got a story that's told more in your face. It's nothing to write home about, but it's solid, and the gameplay in Nioh is very satisfying as well, and visually, this game looks incredible, especially if you're playing on a PlayStation 4 Pro. It is a great game from that department, and now that it's down to $24 at Newegg after a promo code, it is a worthwhile pickup. And finally, Prey is available for $15 at Amazon. Prey was one of 2017's most underrated games. It was done by Arcane Studios, the guys that also did Dishonored, and it was an excellent single-player sci-fi first-person shooter with a decent amount of content to it as well. It was an incredibly atmospheric and engrossing game with a great story, great voice acting, and a lot of suspense and mystery attached onto that as well. And again, while it is a single-player first-person shooter, it does have a decent amount of content because it is played in a Metroidvania style where the game does open up more and more to you as you progress and get different items, upgrades, things like that. And now the game is down to just $15 at Amazon. It is a great deal, and if you haven't checked it out yet, please do so. It is absolutely worth it at this price.
We can fight the invasion. If I can't save us, I'm taking every last one of them with me.
That is going to conclude this video looking at the 10 best PlayStation 4 game deals available right now. Again, all of these deals on the physical side of things. Let us know if you're checking any of these games out and sound off with your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching and goodbye.